On today's episode of That Was Us, we will be discussing Season 2, Episode 1 of Father's Advice. Randall and Beth debate a big life change. Kate takes the first step in pursuing a new passion. Kevin balances the demands of his career and relationship. And Jack and Rebecca deal with the fallout of their big fight. Season 2!
What up, gang?
Here we
Welcome
go.
back.
We made it through 18 episodes. We had a
Somehow.
few special episodes with guests, and now we're on to Season 2.
We are here.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
I feel good. We left in a very sort of discordant note at the end of Season 1 with Jack and Rebecca. Jack leaving the house, wondering what's going to be the future of everything. America being very upset with Rebecca for letting Jack leave the
specifically being
house.
very upset too.
Me?
Yeah.
What was I upset about?
Well,
You
you just said you took
this is
issue with
true.
Dan. Like
You
you
called
can't
Dan.
leave
I
the
did.
pilot, or you can't leave the
I
last
did.
episode.
I think, listen, more than even speaking as Sterling, I think I was speaking as Randall. I was like, I want my mama and daddy in the same house, happy and loving each other the
Yeah.
way good white people are
I
supposed
can't
to
do this.
I can't live like that for a whole hiatus, but I did. But I had a little bit more time because America had to wait longer. I got a chance to see scripts to know what was going to come next. So the episode opens, we hear, which is always reassuring, with William,
yes.
who is gone but not forgotten.
Ugh.
And he's reading some of the poems that he writes for the Poems for My Son.
Yes.
And what's he saying? Things not said, advice not given, envelopes unstamped, regrets enveloping me. This is Poems for My Son. He wonders, is it easier there? I guess yes. Do you think of me like I think of you? And once again, we begin our season on the Big Three birthday, right? Not Dad's birthday, by the way, which is the same thing as the Big Three's birthday. So that's the first time, like normally everybody's birthday is at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
This is just now the Big Three's birthday, which continues to be the case throughout the seasons. We always open on our birthday.
I believe
Always.
so.
But we don't always open on Jack's birthday.
No.
No, as is the case in this particular
Sure.
instance.
His birthday's just forgotten.
His birthday
Not
is forgotten.
celebrated.
Well, he died.
Yeah.
There you go.
There
There's
you go.
that.
I mean, there is that.
There's
Yeah.
that. We see Kev. He's down on one knee. It looks like he's proposing. Is he proposing to Sophie? Turns out he's
No,
proposing to a tennis ball.
Working with Ron
on
Howard.
set with Ron frickin' Howard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, look, the guy is like Teflon. You think like his career's up. No.
No.
Kev just keeps bouncing back.
That's right.
Again and again and again.
It's true.
We see Randall, who looks like he may have adopted a sweet Asian baby.
Yes.
Loving
it
on
just
that baby.
Turns out that he took it from his neighbors.
He's harassing his neighbors.
And
on
his
his
Who need
morning
to get
run.
going.
Probably like Randall.
Hey, Randall, we got to get going, buddy.
Like,
which
how
means-
long has he been doing that? 10 minutes?
Or every morning?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like,
they,
oh, God, I thought we left a little early. We were going to miss
Yeah.
him today.
They,
This
But
is-
here
they
he
push
is.
their Stroysium companies running. Hey! They turn around, go back in the house.
It is a thing still to this day when people bring babies to Sterling and Ryan's house.
Uh-huh.
Both Sterling and Ryan love babies.
Yes.
And the other day, somebody brought a newborn to the house. Ryan won't give up the baby. Like, she just holds the baby.
Yeah.
And then I say, no, I'm going to take the baby too.
Yeah.
I took the baby, and I'm very good with the baby. And the baby goes to sleep. And Ryan's like, what, do you think you're special? I said, yes, I am special.
But I knew that before I was holding this baby.
Babies love me, and I love babies. And anytime you bring a baby on set, it's actually joyous. I know sometimes you'd have to deal with 3 at the same time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't always as joyous.
I was just thinking, I'm like, when this baby comes, I know who to bring it to.
Come bring it to your boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring her over to your house.
Please
Like,
and thank
she
you.
is annoying the crap out of me.
I
You
need
take her.
little girl love in my life. Everybody tells me, as a dad of boys, you need little girl. Do I need little girl love in my life?
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty awesome.
Bring her over.
Yeah, we'll bring her over.
I'll bring them over, and then I'll give them back.
Exactly. None of the responsibility, all the fun.
Daddy.
Where do we find Kate? Where's Kate? Oh, she's
Kate is
preparing.
prepping for her audition.
She's getting ready for her audition for her first big singing thing. It's all very exciting, right?
We jump into the diner with mom picks up the kids from the night before. They've stayed at a friend's house.
Yep.
She picks them up.
There's
Kate
tension.
remarks
Kate's
like,
where's
They're
Dad?
getting the
Yeah.
State of the Union.
they are going to get the State of the Union, but at first they're sort of confused. Like, mom's supposed to be on tour.
Mm.
Why is she the one picking
Yeah.
us up?
Yeah.
they get in the car and mom's like, we got to talk to you guys. They go to a diner. They meet Jack. Side note, I remember, as we start filming these seasons in the middle of the boiling summer here in Los Angeles, it was like, early mid-July, and we're all in like winter clothes and jeans and heavy jackets and stuff, like in the middle of the valley to this unair conditioned diner. I just like when I was rewatching it, I immediately was brought back to just sweating. In a wig. And
welcome to the first 3 seasons of my life on This Is Us.
Correct.
Well, because we get to see you for the first time. Yeah. You've got the beard.
Yeah.
You've gotten rid of the tufts here and just like, I'm going to take it down a little bit lower.
As far as I can.
Yeah.
I talked to hair and makeup and I'm like, now listen, as we transition into season 2, we can just do anything. It's a big time jump, right? We can do whatever we want. And I don't know if you noticed in here's how quickly the switch happens. If you go back and watch 18, season 1, episode 18, the final scene of her going, I think I want to sing. I already have like 3 weeks of growth.
Do you really?
Yeah. Because I'm like,
he's like, we're setting this
I'm
up.
headed towards beard. I am on the road to beard. Yeah.
We're setting this up right now. So they have this family meeting. Jack says, your mom and I want to talk to you. And they sort of use these phrases. Every once in a while, there's a phrase that I have to use in the show that's sort of like, I know it's going to be a hiccup for the audience because it's a hiccup for me. So it's something like catch your breath. We're going to catch our breath. Like, take a little space. What does that mean, catch your breath? Are you guys getting a divorce? That's Kevin sort of approaching in. And they're like, no, not getting a divorce. But the instantaneous annoyance of the children with receiving that news felt real and palpable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Stability is something that kids long for.
Yeah.
Right? And so when that's removed, and Kate says immediately, like, because she's staying at Miguel's, she's like, well, I'll go with Dad. Okay, you're not going to go with Dad. And she's like, what? You're not going to keep me here with this wonderful human being?
Nope. She wants nothing to do with Mom.
Bounce.
Immediately.
She goes out. And then as soon as that happens, Kevin's like, oh, I got to go be with my sister. And then Randall is, who we don't realize at this point in time,
has witnessed the fight.
We'll see later on in the episode that Randall wound up coming home in the midst of the fight that took place at the end of last year.
Yeah. So sides have been drawn.
Kate
is with Dad. Randall's with Mom.
Yeah.
Kevin is going to go wherever Kate goes.
Wherever Kate is going to go, right? But that gets illuminated later on. There's a line that they have. Rebecca's feeling the tension. They're all sitting at home together. We're going to go to the movies. We're going to go see Tom Hanks do whatever Tom Hanks is, and we're going to take our minds off of all this crap we're not. And they go to the movie.
They went and saw Philadelphia.
the pick-me-up
of the year.
First date movie that I took my high school girlfriend. I was like, this might not have been the best date flick.
Yeah.
But you see Kate and Kevin together, and you see Randall with his mom, and that's when we flash back to know. Like, and he walked in when Jack was saying, like, a career, like you sing covers in a pub, you're ridiculous, right? And so Randall's sort of like, Mom, you want some popcorn? And it's sort of like, they've already been close, but you start to see how they become
even
closer.
Yeah.
To which Kev says to Kate, I think Randall's about to make his move.
Real rough comment.
Yeah.
Jesus. And the look on Kate's face.
He says that so many times. Like, he makes allusions to that over the years of Randall and Rebecca having some, like, inappropriate relationship. I'm like, what?
I laugh because it is such a brother thing to say. It's just so dude and so dark and
so dark.
Terrible.
And also so seated with jealousy.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of that too. It's a little bit of that too. This is a fun little note, sidebar. Randall's at home. I think Annie asks, like, hey, Dad, how come you're at home? Mommy's at work now and you're at home being the girl? And he's like, what are you talking about, being the girl? Uh-huh. Women can do anything they want to. Look at Hillary Clinton.
And like, she lost.
She lost. I was like, eat your food. And then there was a line where I was supposed to refer to them as somebody like Ann Coulter and something. And I said, can I say Stacey and Omarosa? And it made it. It made it into the episode, which doesn't always happen, but I was very happy with that particular take. And you see Beth is at work and Randall's at home. So clearly things are readjusting within the Black Pearson household.
Yes.
Right? What's next? You guys, I feel like
I have
just looking
Well, you're getting on a roll. You get on a roll.
this after lunch roll.
We could do a timeline, or we can go in order. But
I have adoption center.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that's what comes next, actually, in sequential order.
He
But
says to her something like, you looking forward to this afternoon? And she's like, yeah, this afternoon is going to be great.
the last thing we see at the end of season 1 is you say, I think we should adopt a baby.
Yeah.
And so we pick up with a clearly resistant Beth.
Yeah.
To this idea, and we're not sure why.
Right.
It's a little unclear as to why she's resistant.
Yeah.
But she essentially at the adoption center lets all of her frustration out in front of this person.
We have a flashback to a scene of her and William in his favorite spot, which is this park that has some folks of color, Black kids, brown kids hanging out, basketball, et cetera, and like they even make reference to it. So like, this is my favorite spot. It reminds me a little bit of home. And she's like, a little less white, and he's like, yeah, that too. And they have a hearty chuckle over the whole thing. And as they're in the adoption center, and Randall's just so excited and so
open,
geeked for this whole thing to go down, right? Like, can we get a little boy? A little boy would be great. I already got 2 girls in the house, got a lot of strong Black women. Wouldn't mind having something a little bit different. And then Beth's sort of like, he just kind of wants to recreate what happened.
So if you have a
to
kid
him.
that was left at a fire station, that would really scratch
That
his
would
itch.
really do it. And you can see that like, we're not on the same page.
No.
Sure.
Right? So Beth leaves the adoption center and Randall rolls up on her and he goes, you fake smoking again? And she
Love
says,
the fake
yes.
smoking. What a
the
strange...
fake smoking, was that scripted?
Yes.
It was scripted.
Yes.
It was scripted. And to Ken Olin's credit, because both Sue and I were like, we should be smoking weed, right? And she's like, of course, SK. Like, I thought that was what we were doing. So we started it off like holding it like this or what have you. And Ken was like, just smoke a cigarette.
I could see him saying that. Just smoke a cigarette.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You smoke a cigarette.
And we were like, okay. And it turned out it was perfect and it was fine and it worked exactly. But here's one
Beth
of those.
does it so well in that first shot. I'm like, is she smoking? Like her mime work is so casual.
It's solid. And Randall says something like, listen, this is something that like, I'm really committed to and I'm very excited about. So you're going to have to get your head around it. And I say that to say that that's one of those phrases, like, get your head around it, that like, as an actor, I'm like, all right, how do I say this shit?
Not harsh.
You know what I'm saying?
There is
Not
no
like
way.
an abusive husband.
I wrote down gauntlet thrown because
So-
there is no nice way to say
You're
that.
just going to have to get your head around it.
You're just gonna have to deal with it. Is essentially like
Yeah.
that's all it
Get your-
means. And
get
like
your pretty little head around it.
Every once in a while, Fogelman will drop one in there. Like, and I'll fast forward real quick. Season 3, when Beth is talking about her dreams of becoming a dancer or whatnot, and he's like, why don't we just put a pin in that? And I was like, when I read it, I'm like, I don't know how America can love me when I say this.
let's put a pin in it.
But this is the other thing about Randall and Beth that is an interesting partnership, right? Because Rachel and I have some of this. Rachel is the, whoa, let's slow down and think about this and research this and figure out all our options and really mold this. And I am the impulsive, like, you know what the best idea is? This idea.
Yeah.
Oh, and I've already ordered it and it's on its way. Like that.
Yeah.
That type of personality. And there is some now of what we know of Randall being obsessive, compulsive, and anxious. Like, is this a good idea? Is it an actual good idea, or is this just someone trying to fill a gap, or to, you know what I mean? It can be seem impulsive. Yeah.
Agreed.
And she tries to slow it all down.
She does a wonderful job of doing exactly that, because he goes to see mom and it's like, I think Beth's having, doubts
second
thoughts about doing this adoption thing. And he asked, like, did you have any doubts about it? And like, the moment I saw you, I knew that you were, we've heard the story. It's all good. But like, for real, what was that like? And you said, like, in marriage, sometimes someone has to sort of be the person that leads, whatnot. And your father was so gung-ho as soon as he saw you, whatnot. And he sort of just got me on board,
Yeah.
right? And introduced me to a perfect stranger. And then that perfect stranger became my heart, one of the loves of my life.
That line, yeah, it was like I wrote down, pushed a stranger on me, and that stranger became a child, and that child became my life.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Yeah.
well, if that just doesn't encapsulate it all right there.
I felt pretty good. As you said it to me, I was like, oh, Mom.
And that I think that applies to not just adopting children, but having children.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's this side of having children that no one talks about, where you're supposed to feel the magic, and you're supposed to feel the love and the gratitude, and you're supposed to feel all these things.
Yeah.
And they exist. But there's this other side of being a new parent. This just for me, anyways.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yes.
if I'll put it to you too. There's this distress. There's this grief. There's this fear over losing yourself.
Yeah.
Over your old life. Over the things you used to be able to do,
Yeah.
go, see, whatever the thing was.
Yes.
And there's a bright sadness around the period, the nesting period that Rachel and I both experienced in very different ways.
Sure.
Yeah.
That is a bit of grief that mixes with this overwhelming joy, but nobody wants to talk about the grief side of it.
I hear you. There is, oh gosh, I'm trying to explain it. I feel it most acutely in the beginning when there's crying at night, especially if you have them in another room. If they're in the room, like in the bassinet or something next to you, then it's all right. Okay, somebody just has to reach over and grab the baby. And if you're breastfeeding, like you can do the side latch or what have you. But when they move to the crib or whatnot, you're like, oh, somebody's got to go and change this child, feed this child. And it's like, should probably be you. Because I'm sleepy. And you're not as sleepy as I am, of course, so why don't you? And it's like, no, why don't you? And in those particular moments, you're like, oh man, like there's a disturbance to the groove of what was my life.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Right? A necessary disturbance to the groove of what was. But you still have to grieve. I used to be able to sleep.
It's the active process of an ego dying.
Yeah.
Trying to like the old whatever has to die so that you are no longer the most important thing.
Right.
And then you figure out how to mature enough to like partner with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And so you expand your ego maybe enough to consider two whole human beings. You're like, well, that's a lot. That's very hard.
Yeah.
To consider two whole human beings. And then
come on, keep going.
And then they keep coming.
Yeah. And then they multiply.
And then you realize, oh, there's very little room for consideration. And that's not true. It's not, I haven't even quite figured it out yet, obviously, because the children are so new. But like the consideration for self is very important because the children need to see that and they need to feel that. And you need that as a person. But to truly, honestly put these beings before yourself is a painful process to arrive at. Mm-hmm. How's it been for you? You're about to do it again.
I'm about to do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think everyone's experience is so vastly different.
Sure.
And I think men and women are different because like I'm sitting here and I'm literally feeling my child like move around in my body. Like there is a different sense of mourning, of fear, of apprehension, of just this idea of like, can my heart expand again? I know it will in theory, but it's such a foreign concept, even though I've done it twice before.
Yeah.
And you just don't know what it's going to look like or how it's going to feel until you're there.
Yep.
And that's it. And so you just have to sort of relinquish that control and recognize like it's all going to unfold the way it's supposed to.
You still feel like, I'm curious because, and I don't want to take too much time away from the episode, but I remember feeling that when I had my second one, I was like, I love this first one so much.
Oh yeah.
Will I be able to love like that again? And it happened. You know what I'm saying? But I was really scared that I wouldn't. I was like, oh, I love this one so much. He's great. And then he came and I was like, okay, I love him too.
Yeah.
And you have that feeling still with the third one too.
Yes.
I had a friend who had a son and was like, listen, Chris, I don't love him yet. The baby has arrived. And I'm like, who is this intruder in my home who is on my wife all the time.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, and I know
It's a lot.
I'm not supposed to feel that way,
Yeah.
Well,
but I do.
Yeah.
And and of course he evolves out of all of that, and it turns into this beautiful love affair between the two of them. But it's such an interesting time, and it makes it such a scary and brave thing to do, to say, hey, we should adopt a baby.
Yeah.
and a brave thing to tell her child, like, it really was your father. Your father, like, was insistent that you were our family.
Yeah.
And sometimes in marriage, you just have to take that leap.
Yeah.
Someone's going to push a little harder and someone's going to just follow. And that was the case with Jack and Rebecca and Randall. And then it's, she's like, I cannot even begin to imagine my life without this choice.
Right.
Yeah. We'll be right back with more That Was Us. Ryan and I have lots of plans for this holiday. We want to take the boys home to St. Louis to visit our families. We want to go down to Disney World and have a good time. We may even hop down to the Caribbean. So there's going to be a lot going on. It's going to be a little crazy. It's going to be a little hectic. It's going to be a lot awesome.
Amazing. The holidays are the most wonderful time of the year, Sterling. But whether you are traveling or hosting loved ones, keeping track of what matters most to you this season can feel more hectic than merry. Give yourself the gift of less stress by stocking up on Life 360's tile trackers. I've got these tile trackers on everything. I've got them on my car keys. I've got them in my cars. I've got one of them stuck in a wallet, different traveling bags, my kids' backpacks. They're everywhere. Everything that I care about, I am tracking with tile trackers.
I like to think that anything that helps me reduce stress is priceless. Tile stands out because, unlike other trackers, it won't tip off thieves with notifications. So whether you're tracking your keys, wallet, or something else important, just ring your Tile and use your Life 360 map to find it in no time. And keep tabs on your loved ones too.
Family-proof your family with Life 360's tile trackers. Visit tile.com today and use code TWU to get 15% off. That's tile.com, code TWU.
So that dovetails into Randall coming back home to talk to Beth. And because you say there's no such thing as a perfect marriage or whatever, but your dad was pretty great. He's about as great as they come.
Yeah.
And I go home to talk to my wife, and I say, hey, I just went to go talk to my mom. And, she said there's no such thing as a perfect marriage, but on that I have to disagree with her. I think Beth said something like, I didn't know that was allowed.
You get these little snippets from her, from Toby, from Miguel about like the view from outside the Pearsons.
Yes.
What it really looks like.
Yes. And he winds up telling her, like, look, I love my parents. They're great. But I don't want that relationship. I want a partnership where nobody's following each other, but we reach places together. And if I can't get you to that place on, through talking to you or whatnot, then maybe we have to readjust together, because we are perfect and we are perfectly imperfect, right? The way in which we fit together. And Beth just says, can I show you something? And he's like, sure. And as they're walking out, she says, perfectly imperfect, huh? I like that. She's... I love Sue.
Sue
is so sexy.
Yeah.
Especially when she's frustrated with you. There's something about the way she looks at you and the way she handles you.
It's
really
pretty
good.
Great. And so then she winds up bringing me to William's spot. She wound up getting poems for my son, bound in leather, wishing me a happy birthday. It's a beautiful gift. And she says, if we're going to do this, why don't we take a chance on someone that sort of society, the system is sort of left behind, and cast aside. Let's get an older child and we can leave an imprint on someone who maybe no one else is giving a chance to, right? Mm-hmm. And Randall's looking around and he's sort of left in contemplation of that idea, right? Let's go to...
Kate and Toby?
Let's go to Kate and Toby. Go.
So Kate is preparing to audition for, what was it, like the 13th, largest cover band?
17th,
on Yelp or something.
Yes.
And And so she's really excited. She puts on an outfit. Toby is, in typical Toby fashion, hilarious in his compliments of
Swing.
There was a lot of swinging going on. And then Kevin
I knew the writers wanted me to give it like the proper
swing,
and I just couldn't.
Right?
It was just a.
They wanted a Wayne's World, and you sort of went under.
I give it a nice swing. A respectable
swing.
Pardon me, ma'am, but swing.
I bought it. I loved it.
As boots are being prepared to be knocked, Kev has a spare key.
Yep.
And comes into the house like, hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Because Sophie's not going to be able to fly out.
Yes.
She couldn't make it for some reason or another.
Her mom has MS and had an episode, and she had to be there with her. And
that's right.
Yeah. Sophie's not going to make it out for the birthday.
Yeah.
But, you know, Kevin and Kate and Toby had plans.
They had plans. And Toby's like, well, will we still be able to go out on the double date with each other?
Because Toby thinks, oh, maybe this can just be a solo date.
Yeah. And the twins look at each other like, are you kidding me, man? It's still our birthday. What are you talking about?
And this is like the first. I mean, there's been some of it through season 1.
Yeah.
But like a real. All right, Toby's sticking around.
Yeah.
And this is the third wheel situation.
This is one worthy of exploration, because I think there are a lot of couples that have been guilty of introducing or allowing a third party into their relationship without the permission necessarily
of their
partner.
A friend. Yeah.
It can be a friend, it could, whomever that person
Yeah.
is, and sort of like being cognizant of that, because for them, they're like, this is just who we are.
Mm-hmm.
For both of them, it feels as natural as anything else.
Yeah.
And then here's this other person, here you are being like, I'm supposed to be this person now.
Yeah.
Right? Which you articulate a little later on. Because now we go, he gets the sushi restaurant.
We go to the best sushi restaurant in town. We arrive, it's empty because he's bought out the entire restaurant. And he is
for 3 people.
And he is being inappropriate
with the chef.
He said he's on the Iron Chef or Top Chef or
the Amazing Race. Something like that.
Oh,
just
Kevin.
the kind of dismissiveness of the rich and famous.
By the way, Justin has like part ownership, I think, in a sushi restaurant.
Yeah, you're right.
And it only like seats like 12 people.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, like, I feel like Dan just listens to everything that people says, and then he just sort of puts it in the show.
He's like,
Dan knows.
That's too good. Click, click, click,
Yeah.
click, click, click.
There is a part of Justin that is Kevin.
It is a total part of it. Justin will tell you when he bought his house, he's like, I just want everything to come to me. If I don't have to leave this complex, it would be perfect.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Very Kevin.
Very Kevin. And so they're just talking. What is it that sort of sets Tobes off in this particular moment? Because they're vibing with each other in a way that's sort of like you're almost relegated to the sideline, and you wind up speaking up. And I'm just trying to remember what the exciting.
It's because she had told.
Thank you.
She finally admits to Toby that she did not, in fact, go to this audition.
Right.
Because Kate goes to the audition and she sees that there are a bunch of size 2, beautiful whatever singers there, and
they
she
have
loses her nerve.
They have a flashback to the swimming pool too.
Yes,
right.
And
she's like, I'm not getting this gig. Why am I going to waste my time?
Yeah.
I'll go meet the guys at dinner.
So she tells Toby, and then Toby finds out that she has already told
Correct.
Kevin.
That's what it
and
is.
That's the kind of, you know what, you two?
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Yeah. And then the two of you and Kev wind up having this conversation.
Yeah, Kev follows me outside.
Yeah.
And we essentially have what you were just talking about, which is like, listen, man, I know that she is your person.
Right.
But I am now her person.
Yeah.
And obviously I will never be her brother.
Yeah.
But there are certain, relational responsibilities that a romantic partner
Sure.
is required.
Yeah.
For.
And Kev sort of in his sort of like to articulate his point is like, look, man, I'm not a very good actor, he says. I'm not very good at many things. Like I have to work and struggle to make it to wherever it is. But when it comes to being her brother, I never had to really work at that.
Yeah.
Like we are each other's person. And to which you say like, cool, but I'm here now.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to do something there. And so then Kate overhears this. Oh, no, because there's this like, look, maybe she just needs a break from that. And she's like, no, she doesn't need a break. She needs to be pushed. Like, she needs to like be encouraged.
Yeah,
well, you say pushed, but to be pushed to go out and sort of like, she has talent. Should be sharing with people. Yeah. So she overhears this and she's like, I don't need to be coddled. I don't need to be pushed. I'm a grown woman. I know how to do this thing for myself. And so she winds up going back to the audition.
Like, screw both of you guys.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to go back and I'm just going to at least try.
Don't follow me. And then I think, I'm confused at the end of that scene. Were you going to follow or are you just going to go home?
No, we follow her.
You do follow
because she takes the car.
Right.
And he's got his car. And I'm like,
I don't know how to open the door.
Don't follow her. Essentially saying to her, and he runs
like,
to get in his car to follow her.
Yeah.
I'm like, she was my ride. So I'm now trying to get into his, I don't even remember what it was, some Audi.
So
sports, supercar.
We cut to her at the audition and she's like, look, I'm sorry. I lost my nerve before, but I want to come in and I want to sing. She's like, great. What do you want to sing? The guys, what do you want to sing? She names the song. You guys know the song.
Nothing Compares to You.
Nothing Compares to You. So great. Come on. 2, 3, 4. Like, and she's like, can I warm up? So she starts singing. She sounds great. You know what I'm saying? It was like she didn't get a chance to warm up or anything like that. And he goes, here's like a couple of bars. Great, thank you. Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, I'm not going to let you dismiss me like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to just let you look at me because I don't look like one of these skinny broads over here or whatnot. Like, I know my worth. I know my value. I'm going to stay here. And she goes, whatever her name is, I can't remember. It's like, come sing Nothing Compares to You. And this chick just blows. Like, blows not in a bad way. Like, her voice comes out and it's just like, oh.
Yeah,
she
exceptional.
Can sing. Yeah, she can sing. And she said, look, you haven't been doing anything. These girls have been doing open mics for so long, you can't just come in. You have something, but you need to go ahead and get yourself into practice, right? And she's like, huh. So she comes out and finds the fellas who are waiting outside for her. And she's like, nah, it's not going to go any farther. But she's like, it wasn't because of my size. And it's something I need to be better. And they're like, no. She's like, no. It's good that I need to be better because that's something that I can do. Mm-hmm. I can work on that.
I can get better.
And so they leave at that. Is that the end of that?
I believe it is.
Okay. Let's delve into Jack and Rebecca.
Real quick, before we get into another storyline.
Please.
I can't remember if I've told my versions of these on this podcast, but do you two have any regrets in your life? Anything you've backed out of, missed out on because of fear or doubt? Like, do you think back and you're like, I can't believe I didn't take that opportunity. I can't believe I didn't.
Gosh, there's nothing that comes top of mind. I'm sure there absolutely has been.
Most of them have to do with like being a young man afraid to talk to women.
Okay.
Being like very, very scared. Mm-hmm. And so like, honestly, when I talk to Andrew, who I recognize has like a similar sort of reticence, I was like, just say hi.
Yeah.
You don't have to put a lot on it. You don't have to make it mean like this may not be your wife or anything like that. But like, don't rob yourself of an experience because you're afraid to say hi.
Right.
That's
for
me.
Sure.
Yeah. What about you?
I mean, I related to her experience so much because I've a big pattern in my life looking back would be low self-worth or self-pity getting in the way and of me thinking clearly. And I mean, up until recently, and there are maybe there's too many, first of all, 3 or 4 examples in my life where I'm like, I can't believe that because of that line of thinking that you passed up on that opportunity. And one of them was, I think I've told you the story about going to see John Prine.
Yes.
So John Prine, who was a big fan of this show, who we have several songs on his show. I was a huge fan of his. My dad raised me on his music.
Yeah.
We met John Prine. We became friendly with John Prine. John Prine and his wife Fiona said, why don't you come to Nashville for New Year's Eve? He's playing the Grand Ole Opry. Come see him. Rachel's pregnant. Baby moon. So we go. We are sitting backstage on the side of the stage at the Grand Ole Opry watching John Prine sing. And there's a bunch of people there. And at the end of his show, someone came over and said, all right, whoever wants to go sing, go on out there. And I realized maybe they meant me. Maybe they meant all of us. Do they mean all of us? But for a second, I hesitated. And Rach said, they mean everyone. Go ahead, go. And I said, no, I don't want to leave you here by yourself. I'll stay here with you. And so I stayed with Rachel on the side of the stage because in my head, I thought if I go out on stage, someone is going to look back and be, not you. You know what I mean? Well, because I wasn't, I was on the outside and I now realize, and the man passed away 2 months later from COVID. It's the musician I've seen the most in my life on stage.
What?
And we had the opportunity
To sing with him.
to sing the finale at the New Year's Eve show at the Grand Ole Opry, and I missed it because of doubt and low self-worth. And it's the same type of moment. Just say hi.
Yeah.
Just take that risk.
Yeah.
Because I would rather now have been embarrassed and someone been like, no, not you.
Sure.
Which no one ever would have done.
Right. Because looking back now, they meant all of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I missed out on that opportunity. And there's like 3 or 4 of those in my life where I'm like, okay, so it's something I'm working on.
I hear you, man.
Yeah, it's something I'm working on.
Mandy Moore don't miss stuff, do you? That doesn't happen to you.
I don't have regrets about it, but
Yeah.
I definitely
Mandy Moore
I say
climbs
no.
mountains. She's
No,
a
that's not-
beast. She could probably climb one while she was pregnant. She's just like out
no
here.
way.
Should we go to the knock, knock, knock scene?
We can go to the knock knock,
is that
but
too
But the
far?
first,
stuff
too big a
before it,
jump.
yeah.
but first, remember when Jack tries to get her a gig? It's so cringy.
It's too cringy to even talk about. I can't.
I
even,
was
like,
going
him-
to bring this
him
up.
walking and being like, I'll pay you. I'll pay. When he says I'll pay you, I was just like, I wish this scene wasn't even in this show.
I know. And the
They should
guy's
just
like,
edit-
you're embarrassing yourself and your wife.
And your
Get
wife,
out of here.
please leave.
I was good. Okay, I think we brought it up.
Yeah, as I'm watching, I'm like, I wish I'd never had to see Jack Pearson do that.
Yeah, grovel for.
But we find out. Can we jump to that scene now?
Yeah.
At the door? Are we
Yeah.
missing anything?
I know. I'm.
We can go
Like
to
we
it.
find out that part of the
Wait before you jump to it.
Okay.
Wait.
And then you can jump
Go.
to it. Because as the kids leave the diner, as they're trying to break the news to him or what have you, Jack reaches for Rebecca's hand.
Yeah.
And she's like,
Nope.
not ready for that right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you can just charm your way back into this thing. Like, there's
Yeah.
still stuff to be
Repairs,
repaired.
Yeah.
Right? So I just wanted to say
No,
that.
of course, of
Okay,
course.
go ahead.
But one of the things we come to find out is part of the reason Jack probably stumbles into a bar midday to offer to pay somebody.
Yeah.
Because Rebecca shows up at Miguel's
Yep.
and says, okay, come home, essentially.
Yeah.
And he reveals that the drinking is more of a problem
Yeah.
than he has ever admitted to you or to anyone else.
There is, I have a quote, Beck, you don't know everything about me. I'm drunk right now. I have a problem, Rebecca, and I've hidden it from you for a very long time, and I need to get a handle on it before I can walk back into that house. I need to fix this on my own. And he gently, not rudely,
Mm-hmm.
closes the door.
Mm-hmm.
And we go to black.
And we go to commercial.
Is that what happens?
Yeah.
It goes
we go
to commercial.
to commercial. Like we're watching it streaming.
Yes.
So it like picks right back up. That went to commercial.
Yeah.
And the audience is like left with like,
A Target ad.
do you ever have a hard time getting stands out of
Totally.
your kids?
Totally. You're so right.
But like the balls on the editing of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Black.
Because the next
Because straight back from that's 25% off from our friends at Quince.
You hear knock, knock, knock.
And the door opens again. And it's the same Rebecca with a new look on her face.
get in the car.
Yeah.
Get in the car, Jack. Like she says it a few different times, right? And she says, like, this is if you're going through something, then we're going through it together.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get back in this house,
Yeah.
and we're gonna do it together. And she says it a few times. Get in the car.
This scene, I was like, the warmth and timbre of Mandy Moore's voice
Yeah.
would end conflict in foreign wars. It is. I was just like, such good acting.
No.
Yeah, such an amazing delivery on the whole thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's the oddly enough, nothing is repaired, but it is the triumphant coming, reunion of these two that we're waiting. I don't know, 4 episodes.
No, this is the first episode.
No, but like the first episode since like
things have been really off between them.
Yeah. And what a way to do that without making it unbelievable or fair.
Because it was still like, it doesn't erase anything.
Fixed. No.
Nothing's fixed. There is work to be done, but we just have to get you home. We have to get you in the car. We have to do this together.
Realistically romantic.
Yes, I agree. Very realistically romantic.
Yeah.
It sort of reemphasizes for me love as an action word, not as an idea or a feeling.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like we're going to go through some stuff, but if you're going through it, then I guess we're going through it together.
That's right.
You have not done anything necessarily so irreparable that it means that the thing that we have created with each other and with these beautiful children needs to be thrown away.
Yeah.
Right?
No chasm too deep.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then we fast forward.
We have kind of a cut from them in the car together to Rebecca in the car by herself wearing a Steelers jersey.
There you go.
Easter egg. And then the camera pans over. Jack's no longer sitting beside her, but there is a plastic bag of his effects,
wallet,
someone's effects.
Ring.
Yeah. Ring, wallet, and
cut to the kids at Miguel's.
Yeah, we see Randall and Kate.
Incredibly emotional.
In tears or whatnot. And Kate says, we have to find Kevin. He has to hear it from me. We cut to Kevin, who's with Sophie in the woods. He's got broken leg. And he's on crutches, and they're sort of making out there.
And Rebecca pulls up and stops the car. And in the blurry background, we see something.
It's a burned out house.
And
then she just convulses with tears.
And a primal scream that the audience will never forget.
I screamed so hard and I banged my hand. You see my wedding ring fly off.
Are you serious?
Yeah. My prop wedding ring. Dan was like, that was so amazing. I was like, what? I didn't even know what was going on. Yeah, it was just I remember we filmed that the day after I got engaged. Not that matters.
Are you serious?
Yes. It was just it was such a weird confluence of emotions because personally I was just floating on cloud nine. And I'm like, forget that, Mandy. You're grieving your husband who died. Yeah. And we
you're happy about it. Imagine if he died. What would that be like? In a fire?
At your house.
Or did he die in a fire?
We don't know. Ooh. I know. That was the thing is we left all these clues for people. Were you guys aware at 201? I think we were all sort of aware.
We knew in season 1 what the end game was. Yes. We just had to be quiet.
We had to be quiet and we had to get there because that's episode 14, I think, of this.
Super Bowl episode.
Yeah, it's there's such
very quick.
Very quick, but also it feels like such a stretch.
Sure. Very quick into season 2, where we get to the
piece
big
of
answers,
breadcrumbs,
the big answers.
Right. It was to hold that secret for such a long time was sort of I won't say fun is the word because people were just so curious. They always wanted to know how did it happen? How did it happen? We even do Paley Center events and people would kind of come in with their own theories of what happened. And somebody actually got it. And I was like, oh, that's a good one.
Did they? I don't remember that.
I remember somebody saying house fire, something else, da-da-da-da. And I was like, that's interesting.
Ooh, that could be good.
That could be good. I don't know. But it's sort of just sort of contextualizes again what these kids have gone through. And then you're still sort of wondering because Kate sees herself as being responsible. So it wasn't him behind the wheel of the car following her advice. So what is it about this fire
that has anything to do with her?
That has anything to do with Kate. Yeah. So you're still trying to put things together like that.
Yeah. A really interesting way to start off another season.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just to me, the show just kept growing and evolving and the rules kept being broken or the perception of what the rules should be.
Yeah.
I loved that. I loved that Dan was always so ambitious. And I feel most ambitious when seasons started and seasons finished.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You know?
Agreed.
Keeps people coming back.
Keeps them coming back. Do we have a guest for this episode,
We
gang?
do. We're
Who's
going to
joining
talk
us?
to Mr. Logan Shroyer.
Hey!
Yes. We will be back with a chat with young Kevin,
That's
Mr.
right.
Logan Shroyer.
See you in a second.
More That Was Us after this short break.
All right, it is back to school season for all of us. And while you might think it's too late to jump on the back to school bandwagon, it's never too late to start with Peloton. Whether you're just getting back into fitness or ready to tackle something new, Peloton's got training plans for everyone. No need for Randall Pearson overachiever mode. Just start when you're ready.
I love Peloton so much. The instructors are amazing and they have something for everybody. You can be a beginner, you can be an expert, you can be intermediate, you can be working on strength, you can be working on your cardiovascular fitness, you can want to meditate, whatever it is that you are looking for, from the treadmill to the bike to the rowing machine, Peloton has something just for you.
Listen, I do a lot of traveling, and so the Peloton app goes with me wherever I go. All of their different training sessions, yoga, stretching, meditation, they're all right in my pocket, on my phone.
With Peloton, the possibilities are endless. With Pilates, boxing, marathon prep, strength training, boot camps, yoga, there's so many to choose from. Want to try something totally new and different in the safety of your own space? Or are you a pro who is pushing themselves with each and every workout? No matter your experience level, Peloton has you covered.
Maybe you're into something lighter, like having a workout companion for your daily walk or squeezing in a quick meditation session to de-stress. The best part is you decide how long or how short it is. Honestly, these days, finding an hour or more for a full workout is rare. Sometimes all you need is a little movement, like a late night walk around the block to clear your mind or a peaceful meditation session to wind down before bed.
No matter how you work out, it's up to you. Find the instructor and the routine that works for you on your schedule in your space.
Find your push. Find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our special guest, Logan Shroyer.
Logan! What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing? Good to be here.
We're doing
Great.
great. We're even better now that we get to look into that handsome mug. Look at the hair.
I know.
That's without product, ladies and gentlemen. That's just how he wakes
just
up.
natural.
Rolled right out of bed, in fact.
There
you
It's
go.
really-
He's not even awake. This is him sleeping. Can
You
believe
got
it? This
full
charming and
stubble
asleep.
now? Like you can? Does this grow out full, or were you keeping it low on purpose, or what?
I can grow it a bit more. It's like it comes in different. The mustache isn't as strong though.
Okay.
I want to get some more.
Why don't you
mustache,
just
but-
you
Give
keep
yourself
you keep
some
the
time.
hair? I'll do the beard. All right. Let me have the beard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I gotta
Yeah.
have something. You are our first guest for season 2 of
There we go.
of That Was
Yeah.
Us.
Very
We
much.
were just recapping the first episode of season 2, in fact.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have you join us for a little discussion.
It is
Just,
great.
I mean, we can sort of talk broad strokes, and then we can talk more specifically about this episode. But I, had the pleasure of being your mother for 6 seasons, and I'm just curious. We had alluded to this in a previous episode, but we shot your timeline with other actors
Correct.
who were sort of in between your age and the age of our youngest big 3,
Yeah.
big little 3. And then those parts were recast with you and Niles and Hannah. And I'm just curious, like, what that process was, what you were told, how much you knew about the show, because the majority of the episode had already been shot, and then you guys were brought in, and we sort of rejiggered certain pieces. But then moving forward, you were such a pivotal part of the series. So I'm just curious how it all sort of unfolded for you.
I pretty much knew nothing, honestly. It was Untitled Dan Fogelman Project,
Yep.
episode guest star. I believe the story was that they had 24 hours or 48 hours to cast it. It was like a really quick turnaround. had like 4 auditions that week too, so it wasn't like this wasn't like my, oh my gosh, this, you know,
This is it.
I remember being in the room with Josh and thinking like, all right, that was okay, as long as that's good, like kind of my bar. And he was like, what, that wasn't good enough? Like, you want to do it again? And I was like, no, I think that was good.
That sounds like Kev, baby.
Move on.
No, that was it. You got it.
Yeah, I got a call the next afternoon, and then it was like fitting that night, fitting that morning. We were on set. I just assumed we were doing the audition sides. I didn't get the script till that morning on the way to set.
Whoa!
I just assumed we were doing the audition sides, which thank God we were. Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I really could tell there was an extra eye on set, because I don't know if you remember, Mandy, but I think it was like all of the execs, a lot of the writers, like everybody was there at Village, and it felt kind of like tense, or maybe that was just my experience of it. But if I recall, Dan wasn't there, but John and Glenn and a lot of other people were there.
Got it.
And
I think you might be right.
Like, I think it was I was like, this feels like a lot of pressure. I don't know. I recall Niles and I doing it, and it just like wasn't really working. And then I think we rehearsed it sideways. Like, there was just a lot
What
of
was the
What
scene?
was the first scene? Yeah, what was it?
The first scene was in the bedroom where I'm like throwing the football at him because he's doing his homework late at night, and I'm trying to sleep before the big game. And it's the whole thing where I moved to the basement where we changed rooms.
Got it.
And yeah, I mean, it was a lot. I had, you know, the brown eyes to match Justin, and I have like a rare contact prescription, so I couldn't see because they can't get them in time.
Amazing.
So they just put as much in there as they could. And I'm just kind of like
blind on top of everything. You
At least you already wore contacts.
That's true.
Yeah,
Like-
so that was good. That was good, actually. Yeah. No, that actually helped me a lot, because they didn't get, fun fact, it didn't get the prescriptions in before the football stuff even. So I was throwing all the football.
Jeez Louise. I didn't know that.
This is baptism by fire, dude.
Glamorous.
Okay, so wait, in addendum, or if it was piggybacking off of that, had you, Niles, Hannah, had you guys ever come across each other through work before? Are you all meeting for the first time on the show? And what kind of camaraderie were you able to develop? Was it like a big three for you guys, or were you sort of lone wolves? Like, how did it develop over time?
I can't remember exactly. Niles and Hannah might have crossed paths really briefly.
Okay.
I hadn't crossed paths with them.
Yeah.
I remember, I mean, it was such a cool, like, because it was a 1-episode guest star as far as we knew. Milo cued us in. He was like, you guys are going to be here a while. And we're like, okay, we don't want to get our hopes up. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Very mysterious. And it slowly really did build into a camaraderie. And it's such an interesting thing to it's like a very specific experience to have with people that it's hard to explain to everybody else.
Sure.
So you kind of have that experience. No, we grew immensely close, and I mean, yeah, it's what it is on set, and like the material is so bonding. It's like all the stuff that you go through with everybody.
Yeah.
It's really nice. But yeah, no, we ate lunch in each other's trailers.
Yeah, you guys were
Oh my
especially close. I mean, it was different with the younger version of your characters, just because they were
parents.
children and they had
Yeah.
parents and stuff, and you guys, for the most part, were, you know, save for Niles in the beginning. Like,
Niles was the only one that was under 18 in the beginning.
when we started, yes. You guys, just like from my recollection, in the midst of sort of trying to, you know, soak in this crazy experience that we were all living kind of in real time of, you know, because I think you guys were introduced in episode 7, and maybe the show had just started airing, or
Sure.
it was about to start airing. So it's like we all rode this like crested wave together. But I remember you guys always being close and like thick as thieves, and hanging out with each other on set, off set. Like, it was very sweet. It's like you instantly became family, or at
Yeah.
least that's how it felt from the outside looking in. And
Do you still get the chance to see each other?
Oh yeah. We just caught up. Niles' birthday was recently.
I
So
love that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I caught that
Yeah, no,
dude. I caught him on Instagram. His arms are bigger than mine.
well, yeah, he's killing it. Yeah. He's really good.
Was it
He looks really
was it a birthday party where like invitations went out, or
And ours just
Like, were
got
people-
lost in the.
Yeah, no, not at all. It was
it was like a
very-
small thing? It was
It
probably
was a prize party. We threw him.
It was
don't
like a
worry
very
about it,
small
yeah.
thing, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't worry.
no worries.
don't
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I obviously you established that you didn't really know what you were getting yourself into when you got cast on the show, but once you knew you were playing this younger version of Justin Hartley, did you have any? Did you spend a lot of time with him? Were you able to have conversations, or did you simply just sort of observe episodes or observe him from afar?
I know he caught you outside his house a couple of times, right? Looking in the windows and yeah.
There was that restraining order.
The restraining order made it difficult to do my research, but I got it done. No,
got it done.
Yeah, it was really cool because there's a lot of I'm like young on the show, like the nerves and like really just wanted to do so well. And I remember watching him and kind of in person a little bit, but especially the episodes, and having a conversation with him about it. And he said, I think the first thing he said was, "This is your character too."
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
So don't just try to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like the writing, I think he also talked about the writing is so good and they do so much of the heavy lifting really.
Yeah.
And let it be yours. It's going to cut, like it's going to work out. Like you can watch me or whatever, but I want you to know like this is your character. So don't just.
So stop watching me. What did you just stop? Just stop it.
Well, also when you think about it, so much of what you do informs what he has to do. I mean, you can speak to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's this weird sort of synchronicity because you share this character amongst three people, essentially, like young, medium, and old, or what have you. And it's a testimony to the writing because when I watch the show, I watch Randall. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Or I watch Kevin, I watch Kate. And like, it's just, you guys were so, I said this to Niles, like, I feel like I'm in such good hands, that the character is in such good hands that I don't worry about anything. I just love watching you guys do your thing. And you were so sweet. You still are. Like, even though you're 25
always.
and you're old. But like, you would be around and you would just sort of like watch and you would like ask questions and whatnot because you were just really sort of a sponge trying to soak it all up. Like the experience in total for you, did you feel like, what did you gain from it? Like, I know you'd worked before and whatnot, but like, what was the process of being on this show for 6 years? Like, what were you left with?
A lot of, obviously, and one of which I think maybe is the understanding of how to be a professional and really do this and what this means. One of the amazing things that, especially because we shot in LA, I was really blessed with was I was working on This Is Us and I was in my acting studio in my class at the same time. So I was trying stuff in class and then risking it on set.
Oh, wow.
And I was going back and forth to try to just push myself, like do something really difficult in class. And it was so cool, the synchronicity of how those two things just continued to grow me. And I mean, I shadowed directors on the show. I sat in the writing room. I spoke to editors. I didn't know what different sized lenses were. So you guys might not remember this, but for Kate's wedding, we had, I think, 4 cam operators. And this, when I'm shadowing, trying to understand lens sizes, every setup, I asked every cam op what the lens size was and went back to Village to see what that looked like. So I didn't
That's
really know anything.
amazing.
Yeah. So I learned it. I mean, it was like, I looked at it a little bit like my college film school experiences. That's kind of how I approached it. So
when I watched episode 1 of season 2, every single person on screen is different. Everybody has now come back to a hit TV show.
Well, you came back with the beard.
Yes, all of that. But what I mean is, there's an ease in the characters. There's an at-home feeling, especially with the three of you. And I was just telling Mandy before we hopped on the phone with you that like this was the first episode where I saw the link between you and Justin. Like you had gotten close enough in the timeline where I was like, oh, there's the connection. Right. There's no more little boy and there's no more grown man. Like this is the transition point. And it was really, it's really beautiful. And it shows across everybody. Like I think everybody's, the relationships are a little easier. Like the way we live in our clothing is a little more at ease. But I'm wondering for you if you felt that, or if you felt that at any point in season 1, or
did you feel that
did
shift?
you feel that at all? Did you feel a shift?
I never got there. Honestly.
Yeah. Some people don't.
Yeah.
Took Sterling 6 seasons.
You know, it's funny. I think there's something to it, but also, you know, what's interesting is people would come up to me a lot, even in the later seasons, and they would say, "Your mannerisms, you did all the mannerisms," and I'm like, I kind of did. Like, there's like a one big one. He kind of like moves with his nose a bit. He kind of does.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, just embodying it wholeheartedly, you know, that I feel like there was something there. I think by that point I was a series regular, so I think there was a little bit more of like, oh,
that helps.
I'm here. We're gonna do this.
Job
Okay,
security.
that's different than like I'm one episode, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. But I remember, I just remember like all the feelings, and even by season 3 and 4, sometimes I'd be in the makeup trailer, just like, oh my gosh, and I'm just like, I need to settle.
Yeah.
Like, it's so exciting, and I just love it all.
Aw, that's a
yeah.
I have a question for you. So in this particular episode, we see blurry figures at Jack's funeral, and I think like through other context clues, we've come to understand, actually through Justin, I believe that that Jack passed away when the big three were teens.
Yeah.
So we know that leaves you and Logan, you and Hannah and Niles to sort of like carry the load of that storyline. And I'm curious, because there was so much mystery around Jack's death and his passing, and so many questions and stuff. Were you privy to any of that, or were you as in the dark as most of us were?
I think Milo or you would maybe tell me some things here and there.
Yeah, we would
I
let
learned
you in.
from you guys to ask ask Zoe and everybody about the episodes to come, because they get them first.
Yeah.
So I learned that down the road. But yeah, no, I don't think I knew much at all. I mean, at that point, obviously, we knew that I was at the funeral, so I started to think about build stuff.
But we also see in this episode that you are making out with Sophie in the woods, so you're not in Miguel's house with Kate and Randall. He's making the bed, and there's a mysterious redhead there with Randall. Everybody's crying, so we've come to assume that like something is transpired, but you're not there. It's really interesting again how they sort of like shuffle the deck of cards and don't let everybody in on.
Give them a little bit at a time.
Exactly.
A little bit at a time.
But it must have been a clear indication that you'd just been given an emotional raise on the show. Like, oh, this is going to be on us. This is This is going to be on the three of us. Okay, here comes season 2.
Yeah.
I do remember. I also remember Milo showing up to the first funeral set because I think he liked the idea of being at his own funeral. So he came and took pictures.
Remember, I was like, "This is so dark."
Of course he did.
He was haunting us.
That's
all
right.
of us.
I do have a question, because so much of like the history of the relationship between Randall and Kevin rests on you and Niles, and we get a chance to play out the after effect of a childhood that was lived, but you guys sort of get a chance to really embody that tension. Like, was there, I'm sure, and I know you guys were buddies or whatnot, but talk to me a little bit about like some of the douchier things that Kev has to do to his little brother, and what it was like to sort of like live in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just watched it at the end of season 1 where Randall's having a panic attack, and you're like standing, you're about to go into the shower, and you see him having a panic attack, and you're like, he'll be all right. And you keep going into the shower. Like, you do a lot of those things. There's arguments and stuff when they're sort of vying for who's the alpha of the house. I'm just curious, like, what was it fun to play? Was it difficult?
Yeah, I mean,
it's both.
It's fun. It's difficult. It's like, it's interesting because, like, I remember there's the scene about the watch. We're like really going at it.
Yeah.
And in the church for the reception, I believe, of the funeral. And like, I mean, it's still tense in between takes.
Yeah.
Like, he's my guy, but there's an energy that's
Sure.
and yeah, that's
Sits
what
there.
it is. But you just let that kind of ride out, and I guess trust that you really know somebody and that it's like it's okay because we know what we're doing. But no, it's fun. I mean, for me, I learned to embrace it a bit more. But I would read the scripts and I would just be like, man, why am I the bad guy?
Yeah.
God, I gotta freaking get behind this now. I gotta justify.
Yeah.
I mean, the first really big thing, which didn't make the show, and I'm assuming that you guys are talking about all this kind of stuff.
Sure.
Which is the stuff around his blanket that he was left with the fire station.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. But originally, because of the arguing we had before the game, I cut it or something.
Yes.
Oh my God, cut that out. I forgot about that.
Because it made me way too much of a villain.
Yeah. They watched it.
They were like,
back,
oh, he's too much of an
wow, this
asshole.
guy's a prick.
Yeah.
we can't show that to
Reel
America.
Reel it in.
Yeah.
There's also, and because of that, also there's a really good moment that didn't make it where Niles and Hannah are on the sideline of the game, and he says something like, "I'm gonna take it from him." Like she's like, "Stop! What are you doing? The scout is here to see him play.
Yeah.
Like you don't care about football." And he says like, "I'm gonna take it from him," and then he sacks me and the whole thing.
That's when you hurt yourself. Did you hurt yourself on that tackle?
That game, I don't think
Oh, no.
get hurt. But
It happens later, which is why when Jack passes away, he has the knee injury.
Got it. It's interesting because there's a fine calibration of like, what can you come back from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like what is going too far type of thing. So I get it. And it's also, you do such a great job. And I just saying this to all of our listeners, you're one of the nicest young men that I've had the pleasure of being in the presence of. So I always think it's really interesting when you see naturally kind people have to be sort of like,
it's hard,
unkind. It's not the easy thing to pull off.
It's not.
You killed that joint, man. You killed it.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, I don't know if you listen to the podcast in general, but we spend, if you don't, please do rate and subscribe. That we spend a lot of time praising you and your siblings.
Yeah.
Your contribution to the show is just incredible, man.
Yeah.
That means a lot. It means a lot coming from you guys, really. I mean, we tried so hard.
You nail it
really,
time after time after time.
Yeah, it really is a testament to you guys, the three of you, that, we love these characters. We follow these characters as wholeheartedly as we do.
Yeah.
You guys just you never showed up to set unprepared. You just you were so professional. You guys were always the best to work with, and you made it so easy to love you and to root for you.
Yeah, we had a lot of good times.
We really did.
Beautiful work, man.
Yeah,
a lot of dinners. A lot
of dinner scenes. I would come watch some dinner scenes from time to time. It was fun to see what was going on in the past.
It was fun to sort of get to play with you guys of okay, who's gonna eat what? Are we just gonna eat a couple bites of salad? Are we gonna eat the bread? We all trained ourselves very well to just stick with the things that you weren't gonna get sick of because you were gonna be there all day.
To the public at large, eating on screen, there's an art to it.
There is an art.
Oh yeah.
You remember the turkey leg thing, Mandy, with Niles?
Never forget it.
What happened with the turkey leg? Share.
Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, well, he
ate raw turkey.
He wanted to go for it one of the nights, and he just took a huge chunk off one, and it was raw under there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
In the middle, and we just couldn't get over it, honestly.
Yeah, because it's disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah, and he kept trying. I don't know.
God.
And Milo made the mistake many a time too, just overeating something, and then he had to commit to it. Remember that it was some sort of vegan dish again on some dinner scene, and he had to eat the whole plate of it every single take, and I was like, you know better than that, Milo. Come on.
Real quick before we ask you what else you're up to and where people can find you and support you today, what is on your arm?
The tattoo?
This?
Yeah.
It really looks like a "This Is Us" tattoo. It you could give it a little nod. I understand. I know. I'm sorry. It's not. It's one of my friends got a 1, one got a 2, I got a 3, and we all kind of meetings like 3, Holy Spirit, Trinity. You can,
Sure.
but also big 3. I don't know. It's
Big
like
three.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Many meanings.
I just wanted to, for people who are watching us on YouTube, I'm sure I've seen your arm a couple times. Just wanted you to call it
Got it
out.
up there, yeah.
Okay, so now that you've done that, tell us, have you been up to anything lately? Can people check you out anywhere? If so, please let us know where.
There actually might be, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it yet.
Well, then
but,
tell
I mean,
tell
just
people where they can find you on social media and they can
So we
watch
can
that.
follow along.
There you go.
yeah, on Instagram at Logan_Shroyer, just my name, and yeah, got some stuff going.
Nice.
I don't know if we talked about it much. The industry is in such a strange, crazy.
It is
That
indeed. It
is
is indeed.
correct. Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a really interesting navigating time, but it gives a lot of time for life too,
Yeah.
which is
Some of us
really-
got into podcasting.
Yeah.
Done very
When
well, I
times
heard.
are weird,
Yeah.
just lean into to a new medium.
Lemons, lemonade. That's what we do. Brothers,
There we go.
it was so great to
So
see
good
you.
to see you, Logan.
Look forward to seeing you in person. Hopefully you can come back later when we get into more Kevin-specific episodes and
Yeah,
just
we'd love to have you
chat
back.
with us.
Pick your brain.
I love to. And you guys said some really nice stuff about me. I mean, I couldn't say more things about you guys.
You could though.
really
We have
embraced-
time. We have time if you want to.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, start with Sterling. I'm
Sully.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
We love you, man.
No, it is.
We love
You're-
you.
It really is true though. I mean, you guys I really what I wanted to say when you asked me what I learned is I learned like from example from you guys
No.
from leading this show and how you embraced us and the community that's talked about so much, the family.
Yeah.
I mean, I really was walking up to you guys and just like, hey, can I ask you a question? And can I, like not trying to bug everybody, but you guys are all so warm and I'm just like trying to soak up as much as I could. And you guys really, really, I don't know, just great people and
Yeah.
great work. And I just had my eyes wide open for 6 years, feels like. So, yeah.
Well, right back at you.
You're the best,
Pleasure.
Logan. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming to talk to us, man.
Of course, thank you for having me. It's really, really good to see you
Talk
guys.
to you later, buddy. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, we're with our fan segment, spotlighting a fan and her adoption story. It's about that time. Now, there's a lot that went down in today's episode of A Father's Advice, but at the heart of the episode is the message William has for his son. It's better to have loved and lost. And while Randall and William only had a little bit of time together before William passed, they were both so happy to have reconnected all those years later.
Which obviously made a big impact on Randall and Beth, because in this episode, we see them explore adoption and fostering.
That's right. So for today's fan segment, we are going to read a letter from Keely, who shared her own adoption story.
I'm going to start this letter, but somebody's going
And
to
you
pick
can
up for me
popcorn me in
because I'm at 1%.
for any Gen Xers.
So here we go. Hello, that was us crew. I've been
That's
meaning
us.
That is us. I've been meaning to write this letter since episode 1 of the podcast. I love the show, and I'm enjoying rewatching along with you. Thank you for bringing the show back in this way and for giving us your insightful and sometimes hilarious perspectives week after week.
Sometimes.
Whether anyone sees this or this message ever sees the light of day remains to be seen, but it has been cathartic for me to write it for you.
Yeah, no
We
longer remains
see
to be
you.
seen.
We see you.
It's been seen.
I identify with so many characters on the show. While some were a slower burn, like Rebecca and her journey through motherhood and Kate's self-image struggles, I identified with Randall's story right out of the gate. I was adopted at birth, and while I remember knowing that all my life, I didn't know my biological parents until much later in life. The scene with Randall going up to the supermarket asking total strangers if they can roll their tongues was so funny, but it was also very real. I can remember as a young girl walking through a Target with my mom and asking out loud, I wonder if my birth mom is in here right now. The curiosity of my origins persisted, but old school adoption records are sealed and it can be challenging for adoptees of that time to find anything out. I had tried here and there over the years, but never very seriously. Finally, when I was pregnant with my first son, I turned to a website that helps adoptees and bio parents reconnect. Very long story short, I was connected with my biological mother. Turns out she very well could have been in that Target when I was a child. She lived mere miles away from me and knew precisely what I was talking about when I told her the neighborhood where I grew up. How crazy.
Wow.
What's more is I always knew that there were some ethnic differences between my siblings and I. One who was also adopted and one was, quote unquote, homemade. I would get real tan in the summers, while one of my brothers would just burn up and peel endlessly. I was also eventually reconnected with my bio father and found out that my paternal grandmother is from Mexico. That fact, unfortunately, played a role in my adoption. I discovered that my bio mother's family didn't approve of her being involved with my bio father because his family was Hispanic. While I myself have not knowingly been the target of racism played a large role in my life, being one of the big factors resulting in my adoption. A few years after being reconnected, my bio mother suddenly passed away. I was driving to work one morning and received a call from a number I didn't recognize, but something told me to answer it. It was her husband calling to inform me that she had very suddenly collapsed and never recovered. I was absolutely heartbroken, but I couldn't articulate why. I still can't. We spoke every few months and sent emails here and there. I always thought we'd have more time to build on our relationship. Was I mourning a relationship that wasn't to be? Was I mourning something I had built up in my head and didn't exist? I don't know. But I do know I'm very blessed to have gotten to know her and to have many, many questions answered. This is why the episode Memphis, with William's story and eventual death, really sticks with me. As I rewatched it, old feelings from my bio mother resurfaced, and it ended with me blubbering like a baby on our couch. For real, guys. Straight up ugly crying. So much so that I went into my now 15-year-old son's room and told him I just watched a really sad episode of This Is Us and needed a giant hug. The relationship between William's mom and him was also breathtaking, but this message is already long enough, so I'll have to save that for another time. This Is Us gave voice to the normalcy of adoption. Families come together in various ways, and it's not always the traditional way. I would tell my friends when growing up that I was adopted in a matter of fact way, just like I was telling them my favorite color.
Yeah.
They would get wide-eyed and either be apologetic or say, "Oh, that sucks." But to me, it was normal and no big deal at all. My parents and family are wonderful, and I'm so blessed to have them and wouldn't change anything about my life. It was really great to see something play out on TV that resembled all of the curiosities of not knowing as a child, elation upon finding answers to many questions, and eventual heartbreak of mourning a relationship that could have been. Thank you for making the show and now bringing it back through the podcast. Love the show. Love you guys. All my best. Keely.
Oh,
Keely. Thank you for that message. Thank you for your vulnerability and sharing your story. And wow.
Again, guys, like we've said it before, you think you're making a show for people's entertainment and sort of give them a departure from life for a second, but like I think we were all blessed to do something that was more than just entertainment.
Yep.
You know,
helping put a mirror up.
Yeah.
Letting people see themselves.
Absolutely. And what a gorgeous story, because, I have a little brother and little sister who are adopted or whatnot. And I hope nobody feels it's what their life is and whatnot. Yeah. And they have relationships with their biological parents, their biological mother, what have you. But they have a good life. Like Keely had a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has a great life.
Yeah. She has a great life, and it's... Like you said, Mandy, when people get a chance to see themselves, because sometimes that story isn't always told and isn't told in a way that you can relate to or what have you. But God, how affirming to know that like you're not alone.
You're not an anomaly.
Other people have gone through what I'm going through, and there's like sort of like normalcy and like, oh, I'm regular in my own way. Yeah. I may be unique, but I'm not like That's abnormal. Right. I'm regular.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much for your letter, Keely.
Thanks,
we
Keely.
love getting them. We received that through our email.
Yep. That was us pod@gmail.com.
That's right.
Who's got the name?
And send us anything you want to send us.
Yeah.
I mean, not anything. Hold on now. Hold on. Wait. let me back up. You know what I meant.
There you
First
go.
of all.
Yeah.
Second, we want to hear about how you relate to the show. what you'd like to hear more of from us. Specific questions, if you have them. You can also leave us a voicemail.
Yep.
If you want.
Yep, you can.
On the emotional support hotline.
They're looking at me because I'm supposed to have the phone number. I can't find it.
Hold on.
Hold on, Chris might have
Hold
it.
on.
It's probably right there at the
Wait
end of the
for it.
letter.
I know it's 401.
No, is it 412?
No, it's 401. Wait, we'll see. We'll see. When Chris finds it,
You might be right.
I think I am. But I just can't remember the other 7 digits.
Listen, you guys, all you got to do is call 412.
That was a total Aries thing that just happened right there.
501-3028. That's the emotional support hotline. We are here to support you. You definitely support us. You can support us by spreading the word. Rate, review the podcast.
Yeah.
5 stars. Leave a nice review. It really, really helps us in the rankings and to be able to continue to do this. We love doing it, and we hope you love hearing it.
We love doing it. I love sitting with you guys.
It's an absolute
always
joy.
The best.
Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to say yes. Thank you all for watching and listening. We'll see you next time.
That was us.
Hi, friends. We are back with another installation of the Retread segment. Retread is brought to you by Peloton. Find your push, find your power with Peloton. On this episode, it was the opening of season 2.
Yep.
I was just about to give birth to my daughter Lou, and I was nervous and just talking about all of the anxiety and excitement around the birth of baby number 3.
The flip of that is also, too, during the episode, you had just got engaged. Is that right?
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. So the very end of this episode, we saw the house. It was sort of like right after Jack passes away, and we look and see the house for the first time and that it had burned down. And so that was like a big clue. And in real life, I had just gotten engaged the day before. So I had to like sort of justify all of these different emotions that were sort of pouring through me. The grief of being an actor on stage and on screen and losing my husband, modulating
Losing a
that.
husband.
Gaining a husband.
Gaining a new husband.
So not telling Chris about any of that because he and John Huertas will ruin it on a red carpet somewhere.
Yes, you guys, we talked about the fact that you went and spilled the beans that Taylor and I had gotten engaged.
Had you not said it already?
We hadn't said it publicly.
No.
We had said it to you guys, and there was like a paparazzi picture.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
they tricked me and John into being like, yeah.
In this episode and on the podcast, we talked to Logan for the first time. We talk about his audition process.
Yeah.
And the fact that Milo was present during the funeral scenes. We sort of flash to Jack's funeral in this episode. And it was off-putting to all of us that Milo was there taking pictures on the day.
Jack Pearson photographing his own wedding.
Yeah, it was good times.
Yeah.
The Retread, brought to you by Peloton.
That Was Us is filmed at The Crow and produced by Rabbit Grin Productions and Sara Wehrheim. Music by Taylor Goldsmith and Griffin Goldsmith.
Da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum. That was us.